Okay, core balance and mobility. This is an advanced routine. Advanced routine number 1. Now, starting with a disclaimer, I really don't recommend you, a lot of these movements are not that hard, but some of them are very difficult. If you are not able to do the prescribed number of repetitions while maintaining proper body mechanics and posture, I recommend you decrease the number of repetitions or you scale the movement down. I really don't recommend that you try to fight through bad form. Never compromise your form, and also never go through pain. With that said, let's begin. Hip hinges are first. I'm going to have a hip width base, heels down, and I'm going to hinge at the hips. Feel the stretch in your hamstrings back here, and take note of the change in torso angle. Bracing your abdominals to keep that neutral spine as you go. We're going for 8 repetitions. You can flow through it about this tempo. Pretty quick in, pretty quick out. Overhead reach is next. 8 repetitions I'll do here, where I'm going to start with my arms right at my shoulders. I'm going to brace my abdominals. I'm going to flex my hips and knees, and then I'm going to reach directly overhead. And I want to come so that my arms are through my shoulders here. And really stick that top position. Stretch that out for 8 repetitions. Great. Next, you're going to do some lateral lunge holds. Here, I'll take a wide stance, and I will bend one knee while extending the other. And just hold the lowest position that you can here. Try to sink in, but keep the heel down of the bent knee. Actually, it's both knees will stay down. Heels, that is. Both heels will stay down. And then from this angle, look at the torso angle that I have here. It's tilted forward at about a 45-degree angle. Okay, the hips went back and the shoulders went forward from the starting position. Hold that for 15 seconds each side. Next one, we'll do our chin tucks. This is just an exercise to get your chin in, or your neck into a proper posture. And for this one, it's like you're trying to avoid your hand as it comes closer in. And when you do this chin tuck, you feel that you're flexing your traps and your neck muscles. So we'll just do some pulses of this. You'll pulse in, pulse out, pulse in, pulse out. A small but very important movement. And commonly we have a fault when we do not tuck our chin when we should. Next, we're going to do a standing rack position stretch, where I'm going to have, again, my hands up by my shoulders. But here I'm going to imagine that I have a barbell across my shoulders, and I want it to be resting on my shoulders, not just in my hands, but on my shoulders. So in order to do that, I have to rotate. I have to get into this external rotation of the shoulders. So you can see that my elbows are coming kind of close in together, and I'm having to flex my pecs, my biceps, and even some of my rotator cuff muscles, my scapular muscles here. And that's kind of, I also feel sort of a stretch in my shoulder girdle here. And I'll hold that position for 15 seconds. The next one is a split stance and turn. So here I'm going to step in, find my balance. I want my front heel down. I want my knee tracking forward here, not caving in. And upright torso position, maybe a slight lean forward at the torso, but maintaining the neutral spine. And then if I can drop that knee down so it's almost touching the ground, flexing the hips to hold this position strong. And then from there, I'm going to turn toward my front leg side, looking my eyes around, turning my shoulders around. I'll hold that position for 15 seconds each side. You can start by coming here and turning, but as you develop your strength, we'll want to try to go very low into your lunge. And you really feel a great stretch in the back side and the back leg and the hip flexor. Also great strengthening for the front leg. Next one, we'll do a standing cross-leg glute stretch, as it's called, but it actually is more of a hamstring stretch. Yes, you just cross one leg over the other, you push your hips out to the side, and then you hinge at the hips, and that becomes a very nice stretch for the back leg, the hamstring of the back leg, especially the outer hamstring muscle. You're going to do 15 seconds each side. And remember here, even when we're doing these stretches, there's no need to slouch over like this. We're not looking to stretch our back. That's pointless. We're looking to stretch the hamstring and the hip here. Ankle wall stretch is next, and for these next few, you may want wall assistance. Ankle wall stretch is where I'm going to place my heel down on the wall, on the ground near the wall. The ball of the foot will be on the wall, and I'm looking to close the angle of my ankle here. I'm trying to increase my mobility to go into this flex toe position. Start with a straight knee. Hold that for about 8 seconds, and then you can bend your knee. Have your knee track right over the middle of your foot. Get both sides. When you have the straight knee, you're going to feel this higher in your calf. And when you bend the knee, you're going to feel it go lower down into your Achilles tendon. Next, we'll do some squats. And if you're at this advanced level, you're not going to need any wall assistance. You're just going to be able to go through a full range of motion, full depth, while keeping your mechanics. Mechanics are heels down slightly wider than your hips. You're going to start in an upright position. You're going to then send the hips back and angle the torso forward. And then you're going to bend the knees, but keeping the knees so that they're tracking wide and not caving in like so. And keeping the heels down the whole time. Achieving a depth where the crease of your hip goes below your knee. As you go down, you can reach your arms out. And then when you come up, you can kind of sweep through and you come to extension here, full extension at the top. And then you can flow through this exercise pretty quickly with a good tempo, springing out of the bottom. For 8 repetitions. Wall lat stretch is next. I'll just place my palms on the wall. Palms will be wider than shoulder width. And then I'm going to just sit my hips back and feel that stretch in my lats. So right under here is where I'm going to feel that open up. And while stretching, we're going to be breathing all the way in and all the way out. Fill the lungs and then empty the lungs. One leg deadlifts are next. So here you may want to have the wall next to you for assistance as needed. But if you're at this advanced level, we'll really try not to rely on the wall at all. And we'll try to keep proper body mechanics on this one, which will include a relationship between the down leg and the up leg and the torso. The down leg is going to be staying strong and balanced, kind of a soft knee position, but primarily here it's going to be a hip hinge. And I have to really work to kick this leg up. I'm only going to let my torso come forward as far as my back leg goes down. So I don't have to worry about touching the ground every time. In most cases, the hamstring flexibility will limit you. You'll have to round your back in order to go down to the ground. I don't want you to round your back. I want you to maintain the neutral spine the whole time during this exercise. And then trying to stay balanced as you go through your repetitions. Trying to keep your shoulders square, which if you're flexing your hip of the up leg, that actually keeps you in a proper alignment here. Really great foot strengthening here, dynamic exercise. We're working on, we're flexing and strengthening the up leg while mobilizing, getting an active stretch of the down leg. Great exercise. Standing hip circles are next. So for this one, you may want to come against the wall, but again here, let's try to develop the balance and the coordination to do this without any assistance and while balancing on one leg. So for this one, I'm going to start with a slight hinge at the hip, and then I'm going to begin by going back to this position where I'm going to flex the hips back, flex back. And then from here, I'm going to open at the hip and circle around, kicking back and circling around. Now notice, I'm not turning the hip. I'm not turning at my down hip. I'm keeping my down hip stable while trying to mobilize to the max my upper, the hip of my active leg. Don't let your back round here. Be disciplined with your torso up top, bracing the abdominals, and keeping the upper back from rounding. Great. Next, we've got some wall slides, W to overhead. So get your heels, hips, shoulder blades, and head against the wall. Now from here, you're going to start in a W position. You want to try to get your elbows back against the wall and your wrists against the wall. We should start with this. You should be able to get into this position by now. And then from here, you're going to push your arms to an overhead position and trying to maintain, at least keeping your forearm on the wall into this position. And if you're getting, the better you get at this, the more you'll be able to actually push your forearm against the wall. So you're getting a little bit of resistance training here. Get the mobility first, and then you'll be able to add strength in this exercise. The next one will be some freestanding headstands, okay? So we're going to form a tripod where our palms will be about here and our head will be out a little bit in front. Make sure you have a nice surface for your head to be on, because otherwise it'll be kind of uncomfortable on hardwood or something. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to kick myself up into position, and I can start with a tucked position, and then I'll try to extend my legs out, okay? And here, you just want to think about the same posture we've been working on, keeping a neutral spine, and then a full hip extension, flexing through your butt, extending your knee, and you'll be pointing your toe as well and keeping your feet together. So just the stiffer you stay throughout your body, the easier time you'll have with this. I can come here with the knees on the elbows, and then I get the head down, try to get a good balanced base here, and then I can stick the feet together and extend through overhead. And I'll hold this position for 15 seconds. Now really try to keep those abs tight, squeeze them the whole time, and squeeze your thighs. And then ease your way down from there by bending the knees first, and then rotating over and letting the feet come down onto the mat. Okay, then you're going to do a high knee run. You're just going to do a high knee run in place for 15 seconds. I'm looking for proper arm mechanics where you're driving your elbow back and letting your front arm just come up to the chin. And then I'm going to tuck the knee in up to about hip level or higher and stay strong through the down leg. Okay, here we go. And soft on the feet. Don't be real poundy here. You're just picking up, and placing down. Great. Okay, next we'll do some standing bent over rows. This one I can keep my feet together. I'll do a hip hinge, keeping that neutral spine, making a fist by the knees, and then I'll do a pull up to my side, and then release. And I'm really trying to work on bracing my abdominals as tight as I can. And when I bring my arms up, squeezing my shoulder blades back as much as I can. Notice the angle of my elbow. I'm not coming into a wide position out here. I'm keeping it pretty tight to my side, not flush to my side. I have a little bit of an angle out. One leg hops will be next. So for this one, I'm just going to hop on one leg. I'm going to try to come off the ground and then back to a land on one foot. So for this one, to be successful in this one, I have to have the strength and stability of this down knee. Also have to be bracing my abdominals here. And it's going to be the tiniest of triple bends and triple extensions. So I'm going to do a bend of the ankle, knee, and hip. And then I'm going to extend the ankle, knee, and hip. I'm going to have the ball of the foot come down onto the mat, having the heel follow directly afterwards, and then I'll repeat that motion, okay? And I'll just do 8 of these each side. And also, I can generate momentum by swinging the up leg through and having the arms and legs work in opposition. Okay, here we go. And I'll go for a soft landing again here. Soft landing. One leg hops. Burpees are next. So burpee here will just refer to chest and thighs coming to the ground, and then getting an extension of your hips, knees, ankles, and shoulders overhead at the top of the movement. And there's 2 options for how to come up out of the bottom. So first, hip hinge, squat down, hands down, then feet out, drop down. So we don't need to do a push-up here today. We're not doing push-up burpees, not doing strict burpees. We're doing efficient burpees. Then I'll do a knee push-up next. And then from here I can lunge out, or I can have the feet come up together and come out. And actually, I like doing both versions. I'll swap. One time I'll do the lunge out version, the other time I'll do the more traditional 2-legged version. And then I'll just try to flow through these really efficiently, quickly. Yeah, the lunge style ones, they're a little bit slower, but I think it just works you in a little bit different way. I think it's great to do both. Low lateral steps. So I'm going to come into just an athletic stance. I'm going to have soft knees and hips. I'm going to drop low. I'm going to feel like I'm really springy here and able to change directions. And then I'm just going to take a step out to the right and then step back together. And then I'll go to the left and I'll step back together. I want my shoulders to stay pretty level the whole time, so I'm not coming up and down. I'm staying level the whole time. And then I can just do a pretty quick tempo here. I want to do about 8 each side. Change of direction, drill. Working your hips and your knees laterally. 8 each side. Forward rolls are next. So just make sure you have enough space for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a tuck and a forward roll. And I'm trying to stay, it's one of the few exceptions where you really want to ball up your torso, especially your upper spine, tuck the chin in, and just make this as rounded a surface as you can so you're not like coming down hard with your hips when you come around. Okay? Stay as tight as you can. You may want to take your time on this because you'll get dizzy otherwise. Just try to pop back up. Get to your heels. Come around quickly. Kind of crunch out of it. Yeah, that feels amazing. It's a head rush. Now another one. We'll do some cartwheels. Okay, so this is pretty dynamic. overhead motion, I have to stay strong through my shoulders when I come through, and I'm going to have one hand come down first, the other hand is going to come down second. And just like with the headstand, I want to stay very stable through my abdominals. I want to keep my hips flexed, my knees flexed, and when I'm overhead, my feet will be kind of together at one point, then they'll come apart, then I'll come back around and make contact on the ground like 1, 2. And if you're crunched for space, like I am, then you got to keep it really tight. And you're trying to make it bring the feet around as tight as you can. Certainly there are gymnasts out there who can keep it a little tighter than I can. But I think this is a fun one to throw into your routine and try to master, try to work on it. Lateral line hopovers, one leg. So just kind of pick a line on your mat. And then you're just going to do one-legged hops forward and back over the line. And we've already worked on a one-legged hop, so this is just going to be the same concept, but now kind of adding a lateral component to it. Eight jumps each foot. Just a little jump. So a little, pick that foot up, place it on the other side. Try to be precise. Try to land in the same spot on every one. Standing split, tricep extensions. Come to a split stance, and then I'll reach my arms overhead, and then this will just be a flex and extend. Flex the biceps, then flex the triceps. Hold this split stance position real strong. And we'll do 8 repetitions each side with each leg. Keep the back arm, keep the lower arm back. Don't let it come forward here. Work your upper back muscles to keep it back. Okay, then last standing one, we'll skip in place. So I'm going to go left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right. I'm going to drive my knee up higher than my waist. I'll be strong through my down leg, fully extend that hip, and then work my arm and leg in opposition. And I'll just do 8 skips each side. You can get a little bit more height as you get comfortable with it. But still try to land soft. Soft landing is what we want, first and foremost. Okay, coming down to the mat, and we've got some side plank leg lifts. 8 repetitions each side I'll do. Extend strong through the elbow. Keep those hips up, and then do your leg lifts here. You're just lifting the hip, you're not rotating the hip. All right? Stay disciplined with this. And keep the hip, keep your whole body in a straight line. You don't want your foot to be pointing out in front of your head. Those are good. Arch rocks. 8 repetitions each side. I'm going to come into, I'm lying on my back, and I'm going to have my hands down by my side, and then I'm going to squeeze the shoulder blades to lift my head and my hands, squeeze my butt to lift my legs, and then I'm just going to try to rock. It's a subtle rocking motion. Try to minimize the amount of change in your body's angles. Try not to get momentum too much from changing your spine angle or changing your hip or knee angle. Try to just make it really subtle and make it stiff and smooth rocking. And then we'll flip around and we'll do just kind of the opposite concept. We're going to come around here, reach the arms down, crunch up, and then extend the knees out straight, and then I'll rock through right here. And here I'll really try to tuck that hip under so I don't get caught on my hips, and I can just make a little bowl shape with my spine and my hips. Push-up position pointers are next. Get up into a push-up position, and then I'm going to lift my opposite arm and leg. I'll bring them out, and then I'll set them down, and I'll switch sides each time. I'm looking for control in this motion, and I'm looking for you to fully extend the leg and the arm. This is a tough series here. We're probably going to be starting to burn a little bit, which is good for us. We'll get one more. All right, that's pretty good. Flip around. We got V-ups, and now you're going to try to stay as, keep your spine in as neutral a position as you can. Try to minimize the rounding of your thoracic and your lumbar spine, though you may need to generate a little bit of momentum, and you may default into that a little bit. Let's try to stay as tight as we can. Okay, so I'll start with my arms extended out, my feet up. I can generate momentum with my hands initially, and then I'll come up. I'll keep the toes pointed, and you can see where the arms end up when I'm at the top, reaching down by my hips. 8 repetitions. Push-up hand walkouts. So we'll do 5 of these, and what you're going to be in a push-up position, and then I'm just going to like walk my hands out away from my shoulders as far as I can, and then bring them back in. The further I walk out, the more challenging it's going to be for me to hold my spine in a neutral position. So let's try it out. Get your legs flexed up, and just go to that point before you either fall to the ground or resort to a rounded back position. Quite an intense exercise. You just want to inch your way out there. Oh yeah. Good. Next one, lying hip bridge walks. So I'm on my back, let my head relax. I'm going to shoot my hips up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk my feet out, try to minimize the turning of the hips, try to keep the hips square. And then I'll walk them back in. And I can just move it around in kind of random angles. So I go, maybe I'll do a lap going wide, and then I'll try a lap going narrow. And you're just going to do 5 walkouts. Bracing your abdominals as well. But certainly this is going to be focusing on your hamstrings and your glutes. An easier way into that one, you don't want to have your hamstring is likely to spasm there if you do too much too soon. So just be cautious on that one. Hip raise, reverse crunch. Lying on my back again, and knees will be straight, and I can generate this little momentum with my feet here, and then crunching up. The rotation at my spine is actually happening. I'm trying to have it happen up in my thoracic spine where my rib cage is, not the lower spine. You can get a little push with your hands as well. Try to land with control and go for 8. Plank, sliding stir pots. Okay, so for this one, if I can get my towel and put it on a sliding surface, and then I'm going to be in my plank position, so my elbows will be on the towel. I'll get into the plank, and then I'm going to try to draw a little circle with my elbow. Now my surface is it's really hard for me to actually stir my hands around, but basically what I'm doing is I'm lifting one elbow, moving the towel over here, lifting this elbow, moving it around over here, and then I'll go up, and then I'll go to the side, and then I'll go under. And I'll do that for 5 circles each side. Rolling side to side while tucked is next. So I'm gonna tuck up here. I'm gonna have my elbows tight to my side and my knees are tucked in. And then I'm gonna let myself drop to the right side and then to the left side. I'm actually trying to keep my shoulders and hips together, so I could do this more easily if I like rocked my hips into it, but I'm actually just gonna get a little bit of push with my arm and try to keep my hips stable and together with my shoulders. And it's surprisingly quite a good abdominal exercise. Let's try that one. I've got, next I got for you some lying side crunches. So I'm on my back, I'm going to crunch up, and then I'm going to just rotate my shoulder this little bit so that my fingers touch one heel, and then they rotate over to touch the other heel. And I'll just do 8 touches each side. Keep the shoulders crunched up as high as you can the whole time. And then push up to side plank. So you can start in a push-up position, flex strong, and then I'm going to rotate over. And if you watch the foot, what I did was I crossed over the leg and placed the foot down, and I ended up in a side plank position with the arm overhead. Then I go back to the push-up, and then I go to the other side. And I'll just switch, pause in each of the 3 positions. Push up, left side plank, push up, right side plank. And again here, you notice the relationship between the shoulders and hips. Try to keep it so the shoulders and hips are staying together. You're not rotating the hips before the shoulders. They stay together. All right. Next, we're going to lie down and do some crossover leg sweeps. Lie back. Let your leg cross to touch the outstretched hand. Place that foot down and then switch legs. Really good lower back release. Outer hip opener. Good active stretch here. Let the shoulders turn over a little bit. You can see my shoulders turning from side to side. Full bridge with one leg taps. Okay? So, I'm not a great model for this because I can't quite do it as well as it needs to be done. But what I'm looking to do here is I place the palms down behind me, elbows are pointing up, and then the first thing I'll do is I'll just bridge up here. I try to extend my elbows and extend my hips. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap one toe up and down. I want to do about 5 each side. And the one thing that will help is if you have a mat that you don't slide out on. This is a little slidey surface for me, but if you had a proper yoga mat, that would help out a lot for that one. Reverse clams are next. So I can lie on my side. I'll lie on my back. I'll make fists. I'll squeeze the fists with my knees, and then I'll rotate at the hips so that my feet come apart. And then I'll let them relax and come back together and squeeze them back apart. Go for 8. Small range of motion, very specific hip rotators that you're working there. Lying leg kicks are next. Lie on your back. Extend one leg out onto the mat. Extend the other leg out, and it will be kicking up and then back down. 8 quick repetitions each side. Stretching the hamstring dynamically. Little hip flexor strengthening as well. Abdominals will be working a little too. Side lying shoulder external rotation. Elbow tucked by your side. And then I'm just going to rotate up and then release back down. Keep your shoulder from shrugging. Actually retract your shoulder blades. Squeeze your shoulder blades together as you're going through this motion. And you're going to feel a little bit of burn on your rotator cuff muscles. 8 each side. Quicker tempo like I had. Kneeling, sit back to heels. So try this one with the top of your foot down on the mat, and then you're kneeling down, and then you just have the seat back to your heels. I know this one's very tight for me. Something I need to work on is this ability to point the toes. Should be able to relax into that position. Mountain climber holds. Just do 15 seconds each side. I'll place the palm down, extend the knee out. Feel the stretch in the glutes of the front leg, maybe a little bit on the hip flexors of the back leg. Drop that knee down. I start to feel that hip flexor stretch. Okay, then we're going to do a straight leg seated stretch. Extend the legs out. And then keeping the torso in an upright position and trying to fold forward. I can point the toes, flexing the knees into extension. And it's another one I'm not a model of, but you just want to go as far forward as you can. Well, there's no use in, I don't need to stretch my spine like this. I'm just going to work to keep the upright torso position so that I'm isolating the hamstring stretch. Pretzel stretch. Cross one leg over the other. Reach in between your legs and pull your legs into your chest. You can let your head relax. "15 aside. This is a glute stretch. Great. Kneeling hip flexor stretch with quad stretch. Okay, so I'm going to be kneeling, upright torso, and then I'm going to kick the back heel up to the hip and feel a really great stretch on the hip flexor all the way through the quad. I want to be squeezing my butt as I hold this stretch and flexing the toe. Squeeze the butt, flex the toe. Definitely helps to be on a soft surface for this one for your knee. And I have a little way to go on this one. I want to work to having my shoulders square. I don't quite have the mobility to do that, but that's what you're working toward. Kneeling lateral lunge stretch is the last one. I'll be kneeling with one knee. I'll extend the other knee out straight and place that foot on the ground. Then from there, I'll push the hip back and feel the stretch on the inner thigh. And breathe. Hard work today. It's a tough routine. 15 seconds each side. And then release. All right, for the last 2 minutes, I just want you to spend some time giving your feet some love. So I'm going to massage them out. I'm going to work on the arch of my foot first. I'm just going to dig my thumbs in there, massage it out. I can work my way up to the top of the foot and scrunch it around with the ball of the foot. Get the underside of the ball of the foot right in the meaty area there. Let that thumb glide across. Then I can pull on my toes, pull my toes down, pull them up, squeeze them. I can massage out my heel a little bit. And then I can go to the top of the foot and run my hands perpendicular to your foot tendons. Hitting both sides. You can see that I'm just sitting with a crossed leg here, whatever position is comfortable. I think this is really important. If there's any one area that we need to massage more or give us manual manipulation to, it's our extremities. So that's why in this program we spend some time massaging our feet and our hands. Okay, that concludes our workout today. Thank you very much for participating. I hope it was a good workout for you. I'd love your feedback, so send me a message and let me know how it went, and I'll look forward to seeing you for the next workout.